God.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Fools Rush In STFC Fan Chat. And as you can see by the smiles on our faces, we are all still reveling in the delight of the 96th minute winner at the weekend against Oldham. They are not children. One of them actually is 6'5", and one of them essentially is the captain of the podcast, and the other one is Ben. The panel are here to discuss all things on and off the pitch, but let's say a quick set of hellos. They're with all of his favourite toys. How are you, Ned?
I'm good, thanks. Sorry.
Sorry, were we interrupting playtime?
I just like bumming him like John Sheridan. Sorry, apologies.
They're not children, Ned.
We've recorded for 30 seconds and it's already gone off script. Your eyes do not deceive you if you're watching this version. Woody's back. We found him.
There he is.
Hashtag found Woody.
Hashtag we found Wood.
He's one of our own. Yep. Hello.
Welcome back, Woody. How are you?
I'm good. I'm fully refreshed from my 2-week break. Seen the episodes, some good discussion points, which I'm not able to discuss tonight. But all good. And I've seen the Batman, so happy days.
Happy days all round. And keeping one eye on tonight's episode and one eye on the football behind him, BTB is in the house. How are you, Ben?
It's all right, Stephen. I'm well, thank you very much for asking. And how's yourself?
Did anyone else detect that Ben tried to do some sort of weird accent at the start of that and then just did not commit and gave up?
Good effort.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
Little pre-warning to anyone watching or listening to this episode. Ben is in a very, very weird mood, so God knows what's coming in the next hour or so. We've obviously got a lot of time's going to be focused on the 1-0 win at the weekend, but since we last spoke, there was the defeat at Exeter. Let's just briefly mention that. Ben, if you'd like to go first, not ideal in any sense, really, that game, performance or result.
Yeah, I think we quick forget about that. I think Exeter built it up to be their massive game and their big chance to boost their season, and they're quite a big build up to that one, and it was huge for them. And with us, it wasn't. I think they were quite spent after Saturday, plus the injuries, plus suspensions. The first 10-15 minutes we looked all right, but yeah, after that it went to pot after 2 quick goals, 2 poor goals, and it's just absolute bloody shambles for the rest of the day. The only good thing about it is Jack Payne got some minutes and he scored a lovely goal.
Yeah,
and that's the only bonus good point of the game, really. At least said about that the best.
Ned, we're going to come on in a little bit once we finish looking at the 2 games to look at the league as a wider picture. It's very, very tight at the moment. So dropping points to not just a playoff rival, but a promotion rival isn't ideal. That, we've mentioned throughout the last few weeks the word momentum. That suddenly, it's like hitting a brick wall, wasn't it? The way that result came about.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly unfortunate timing of all the injuries and McCurdy's suspension and everything else. It did hamper our suspension.
It hampered our
momentum.
Suspension.
That's better. But I think most Swindon fans went into that game thinking, if we get something out of it, great, and if we don't, then we haven't lost anything. But I mean, my brother and my nephew went, and he was saying that Exeter was rubbish, but unfortunately we were worse. I tried to listen to the game. The radio broke. I tried to watch the game, and I couldn't get a connection on my iFollow. So I was most upset. I was swearing in my house, and I had no real comprehension of how the game went. So I could only go off what they was talking about. But it just made this Oldham game so much more important, didn't it? And thankfully we've bounced back, and the momentum is there once again. So
yeah.
Woody, I'm happy to kind of move on from Exeter already? I don't want to dwell on that at all, unless there's anything you want to add, or do you want to start us off with a proper reflection on the game that we actually do want to talk about?
Well, on the on the Exeter game, I was just annoyed that it's another game that I've spent money on this year, and we played diabolical. It's we had almost double the possession they did, but half the shots on goal, and it was, I think Exeter game was just not necessarily a reality check, but in some ways, just when it does go wrong, it goes wrong.
Jonathan Brown scored.
And Ground scored as well. But there was just so much wrong with that game. Ned's right. It did make Saturday more important, and arguably it makes tomorrow night more important as well. We just can't afford, in my opinion, don't think we can afford any more blips. We Ben mentioned about having injuries, etc., from on the Exeter game. They're slowly starting to come back now. We've had good news regarding Tomlinson by the sound of it as well. Yeah. It just makes tomorrow night even more important, in my opinion. We do need to start stealing points off teams around us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get on with Oldham then, Woody. In the end, it took its time to happen. 96 minutes. Or, as I've been quoted by more than one person, 100+ minutes into the game. But we got the result.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. At the moment, sometimes you're going to have to do that. I think I was chatting to a guy at work today who went as well, and we said that if Sheridan wasn't there, it would have been a really rubbish game of football.
Yeah.
And it does make the question if there wasn't that kind of extra thing we needed, i.e. Conroy being wound up playing against Sheridan, would we have maybe scored the winner? We don't know. But I think it was good to see the likes of Conroy. Akin, I thought, had the best game he's had all season. Conroy himself had a very good game. And Jack Payne was pretty good as well. And then Hunty was good as well, which ironically are the players that were in Sheridan's side last year. So it was almost like they were playing with a point to prove. I mean, I did put in the group message to say, "Oh, look, we've done so well and not making it about Sheridan," but we really didn't. Which Wazza brought it up a few weeks ago about we need to try and get Sheridan out of our head now, and I think we do. I think the business is done now. It's great. We'll gloat for a little while. But that for me, now that's it. That's me done with Sheridan. We've done the better thing over him. I couldn't care if he comes back to the county ground against us at any other time now. We've done the business. In terms of the game itself, like I say, it wasn't a particularly attractive spectacle, but it did have some of those kind of controversies that we all like. Dodgy fouls. There was Ali the physio put up to say that how she doesn't understand how O'Brien even left the pitch after that, that horrible challenge on, I can't remember who it was for them, but it was an awful challenge on his ankle. So it was one of those games that still had entertainment, but for the wrong reasons in some ways. But buzzing for Conroy. I think, I'm one of his biggest critics this season. I still don't think he's at the best quality, but it was great for him, and I think any proper Swindon fan will be happy for Conroy on Saturday, because that goal meant a lot to him.
No, absolutely. And you say there about how you're ready to draw the line in the sand now with Sheridan. Friend of the pod, Claire, tweeted in when I asked about thoughts on the game, and she said her thoughts are simply karma and closure. Were the two main points that she sent in. Finished off with a "Come on, you Reds" and Bosh. But I think that's true. I think a lot of people now are ready to draw that line, as you said. But before we fully close the chapter, Ben, I was trying to think of what would rile you up the most, and I want to give you the opportunity to speak about Sheridan's reaction at full time and sending something that wasn't exactly pleasantries to the Swindon Town faithful behind him.
Do you know what? That added to the closure. That actually made it a little bit better, because we actually riled him and he actually knew what we felt. And for the first time, he actually knows what we think of him and how the Swindon fans as a whole just think of what he is, and we got to him. That's closure. That's done now. The book is closed on John Sheridan. He's gone. And yeah, that was enjoyable. And I said, I was really pleased with Cromwell for the way he was treated last season. That's the best game I've seen him play for Swindon since the Wellens days. He started doing his old Miranding runs into midfield that he's not done for so long. His Hollywood balls.
His what runs?
Mirandering runs into midfield. We pick up the ball. Well,
meandering.
Yeah, Mirandering. Because Oldham, typical Sheridan's team, they just basically a horrible, awful side, hoofballing it as much as they can. And every time we played the ball out, they just let us walk to the halfway line before anyone even challenged them. And the players saw confidence from that. Now Sheridan, because he's got absolutely no ability to pick up on what other teams are and pick up for opposition's form, he's just a rubbish manager. Swindon were actually there for the taking that day because of injuries. We were really nervous about the game beforehand. If they actually went for us and took the lead, we were on for a wobble, and they could have beaten us. But he didn't. He just let us have the ball. He let us build confidence up. And that first half, we just got a bit better and better. And that goal was coming as well. It was even at 90 minutes, I felt we could actually nick it. And it came, and it was glorious. And the right man scored as well. And I'm so pleased about that. And I'm so pleased that Sheridan lost us right at the end. So happy days. It was the perfect day. We shithoused the master shithouse, and I was so pleased. I held my son up above my head, and I watched
like a Lion King moment.
Like a Lion King, and we watched the joy, and we celebrated together, even though he didn't know what he was celebrating. We loved it.
And just one other thing before I hand over to Ned. What and if any of you other guys have a thought on this, what do we think Frenchie said to him? Because clearly something went off.
Oh, Jesus. I reckon he said something along the lines of, get back on the bench. That's where you've been all last season. Or do you know what I mean? Something along those lines.
He said something horrible to him, didn't he? Something very Sheridan to him. And Frenchie just gave him a smile back.
Wasn't he coming back from warming up? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just warming up and he was walking back to the bench, and Sheridan obviously said something under his breath to him, and then Frenchie reacted.
Ned, I'll give you your chance to have your say. Leading in point for it, in amongst all the joy and the euphoria of the goal, who scored it, the result, who it was against, and everything, a lot of praise for the new signing who came off the bench as well.
Egbo. Honestly, I was the only person trying to start the chant in the Don Rogers, but there we go. I was like, he's coming on. You know, to all the people around me. I didn't know anyone. It's just my daughter next to me. Yeah, I mean, he didn't see too much of the ball, but you can see his quality straight off. And yeah, I couldn't be happier for him. You know, he's been searching for a club for a while, hasn't he? And you know, the planets have aligned and allowed him to sign for us. And you know, fair play. You can see, as I said, you can see he's got something about him. I had a look at his stats a few weeks ago and said that about his passing stats were unbelievably high, and you can see it. You can see why. Another point that was raised on the last pod was that our friend from Bradford, Liam, said that this is the game that we needed to watch. They'll play us off the park. What a load of shit! Sorry, I love you, Liam, but Oldham were absolutely awful.
They were horrible, anti-football, Sheridan, nasty stuff.
Here we go again, Ben.
Sorry.
Hashtag free Ned.
Right, I'm going to settle my hands now, Ned. Let you take the stage, mate. I'm very sorry. Carry on.
I'm only joking. Say what you need to say. Go on, it's fine.
Sheridan's a cunt. Carry on.
That's fine. So, I mean, I'm not sure who was supposed to be, you know, being this wonderful playmaker and, you know, lead them to believe that, you know, that Oldham were going to play us off the park and they're so dangerous and all this. None of them showed up. The only player that I liked on the pitch, I mean, that Kuta wasn't playing, but the Bambula, I mean, he is so skillful. He's so good with his feet, but when it comes to a shot, bloody awful. It's like he was doing conversions for in a rugby union match or something. But I know I thought how they've got so many wins recently. In fact, the only possible way that they've had so many wins recently is because they've been so fucking dirty, putting everyone else off their own game. I mean, I don't understand how, like, the Oldham commentators and all the fans are like, oh, Swindon falling down on the ground all the time. Oh, unbelievable.
Your impression of an accent.
Yeah. Hello, I come from Oldham. This is hardcore.
We are the bunch of people from Oldham,
To be fair.
Off the boundary park we go.
Oldham Athletic.
Bloody hell.
I don't get it. I don't get it. There you go. In fact, I just want to make a statement right now. The Sheridan thing is over.
Yeah.
Nate's not the camera.
I broke my fucking webcam.
I promise you, one week we will have a professionally put together episode. Christian's joined us since we started. Are you all right, Christian?
Yeah, I'm just this pair chatting shit. Carry on.
I just wondered if you had any thoughts on the win over Oldham at all.
Wow, yeah, it's great. Take the 3 points every day of the week. Fantastic, great. We didn't play well. We were shit, and I think that's widely acknowledged. That's not me being negative. We were crap again at home. You got to acknowledge that. But I'm delighted with the 3 points. And like I've been saying for the last few weeks, I want us to be in that playoff mix at the end of the season. So we win, won't we lose? Well, we win, won't we lose? Whatever, that's fine. We're still there, aren't we? So we're happy. We'll take it. But fucking hell, I wish we played better at home.
I think it's one of those things where while you're winning, people don't mind so much. If we were losing the games, then there would be a lot more people perhaps agreeing with that particular sentiment. I just want to draw your attention to a question that we had in the mailbag based on the Oldham game specifically, and it came from Daz. Dion Conroy and Ellis Iandolo walk into the Merlin post Oldham, but you can only buy one of them a pint. Who is buying who one? Ben, you go first.
I'm buying Dion Conroy a Jaeger as the song goes down, and he can have as many of them as he wants for that game, because I think there's a photo of him and Jack Payne having a cuddle, and it looks like Conroy's actually crying. I think he went through hell last season, and I think that meant so much to him. I'd buy him a beer, give him a cuddle, a couple of Jaeger bombs, kiss his head, and Dion Conroy.
Woody?
Dion Conroy, but not for the reasons that Ben said. I'd buy him one just because he scored the winner. I'll just keep it simple if it was out of them two.
Ned?
I would definitely buy Dion Conroy a beer because it's the first one he's deserved this season. Fair play to him.
Yeah, first one.
And Christian?
I'd buy Ellis Andelo the beer because I think Conroy was trying to clear the ball out of play to keep the 0-0.
Excellent. Let's move on to things off the pitch slightly, if we can then, unless anyone has anything else they do want to say specifically on the Oldham game. No one's sort of jumping in at this point, so
I'll say good luck to John Sheridan and to Oldham for the rest of the season. Just have a bit of balance to the argument. He's had his issues last year, and obviously death of his parents. He wasn't a good manager for us. He was crap. His art weren't in it. I like Oldham Athletic as a football club. I've always had a lot of time for Oldham Athletic. Back to the Joe Royal days, when they had the plastic pitch, they were, real giant killers. It was quite exciting times in football then. I enjoyed watching Oldham Athletic play. I went to see them, I think, in about 1989, the game at Boundary Park. So I hope they stay up. Let's just bury this John Sheridan shit now, yeah? We've let him know. We've let him know how we feel. Leave him to it. Good luck to Oldham. That's it.
Very well said. It was announced earlier last week before the game that we were now able to offer sensory packs, which when I saw the announcement, I was very happy that we were able to do that now. And I think it was Ned, you were one of the people, I think, actually commented directly back on the club's post about this. It's just another... It's another needed step in the right direction, but also another positive step from the community feel that we've been speaking about throughout the whole course of the season, isn't it?
Absolutely. Community is such an important part of what we're becoming now. And it's such a, I can't think of a better word, thoughtful, addition. I just think, the club surprises me each and every week. They come out with something else, which is absolutely fantastic. So fair play. I mean, that is, you literally cannot get anything better than that. I think that is absolutely wonderful. It's not just a whistle, like something else. I mean, they've really put some thought into that, and they've put some money behind it as well. So absolute fair play to them. I love it. I absolutely love it.
And Woody, we know obviously your thoughts on inclusion in football and making sure all groups, whether it's genders, ages, disabilities, etc., everyone should be able to feel involved in football. So you must, when you saw it as well, you must have thought this was a great addition.
Yeah, and I think I thought it was a really nice touch. I think that I looked at it and, having my son is himself not been diagnosed yet, but very high on the suspected radar. He would have loved. He went to the game on Saturday, but he would have loved something like that, And I think it is really good because it is difficult when you do have, obviously it's mainly autistic, but when you have autism and you're in, especially a big crowd as well. So I think it is such a lovely touch. I've worked with clubs like Oxford City who really promote the disabled football message, and I just think this is all part of that, and it's such a big thing. So fair play. I'm really happy for what the club have done there.
No, absolutely. Ben, anything you'd like to add on that particular topic?
Nah, it's another step in the right direction. It's another win by Swindon. It's absolutely brilliant when I saw that, and long be it the case. It's a fantastic move from the club. I can't add to really whatever people have said.
Speaking of moves into what will make people happy, and I'm not comparing these two things by any stretch of imagination, but there was also the thing, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, if you were able to use it or whatever. I saw that they put in almost like a portable bar or something at the town end for the Oldham game. Did anyone see that? Did it work?
No,
and I know it was sorry, Christian. I don't know if you meant to unmute yourself or not there. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. Did it work? Is it something you'd like to see come back? Well,
it's the second time they've done it this season. I didn't personally use it, mainly because I have my kids with me. But I think it's one of those, isn't it? If they've come back, it must have worked the first time. So keep it there. If it's working, keep it there until we can do something a bit more permanent.
Okay. Ben, let me bring you in then on the next topic, which there seems to be a lot of talk and headline, if not necessarily the real substantial news yet, but the purchase of the county ground seems to keep cropping up again.
Yes, the council have their approval meeting on Wednesday, and it looks a goer, doesn't it? It looks like the county ground will soon be ours for the first time in the club's history for 2.3 million. Absolutely fantastic news. And there's also in the contract an outlay of how they're going to start work on the grounds. They'll start work with the Stratton Bank, and then just go on improvements around the ground, executive boxes, and then the town end, knocking it down and building it up. Really excited what football's going to be like in about 6-7 years' time.
And Ned, the screenshot of what was put out, as Ben was saying there was quite a clear timeline to say, season such and such, we're going to do this, it will take this long, it will cost this much. Once that's done, we will start this, it'll take this long, it will cost this much. It was quite, although a simplistic layout, is quite detailed, and it just builds that positive feel, doesn't it?
It does. However, anything to do with the council and schedules to do with building anything, I'm not sure if you know this, Fivey, but in the Swindon area, it's quite a contentious subject right now. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that's something that we've drawn up rather than what they've drawn up. But I mean, I just wanted to sort of bring it up in front of me just so I can refer to it. Damn it. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, before any of this, you know, the major work takes place, please sort out the PA system first. That's the one thing I beg
week,
of you.
And you know what's great? So, especially on our Twitter, we're getting more and more people interacting every day with our Twitter. And the one thing that keeps cropping up is, I wish they fixed the BA system.
Can we get Rob Angus on? Do you think he'd fit well into the group?
Well, it's certainly a different feel to other sort of I'll call it a media outlet that he appears on. It's a different feel.
Yeah, well, it's a bit more relaxed.
The invite's there. Listen, if he ends up watching this episode, the invite is there. If you'd like to come on, you are more than welcome.
Rob, we'd love to see you.
Woody, your thoughts on the county ground purchase and the scheduling announced, etc.
Yeah, I think it's a must-have. It's got to happen. I'm positive that it will happen. From my point of view on the schedule, I'm taking it with quite a pinch of salt at the moment, just because I think a lot of that schedule is derived by how well we do on the pitch. Because, you know, if we, which I don't think we will, but if we do hit a sudden turmoil, some of those things that are on that list won't happen. It will be simple as that. So yeah, it's but hopefully, you know, if it's, for me, the priority, also getting the ground is the big priority, then work on what we've currently got alongside with what's happening on the pitch, and then let's have a look at that 5-year 10-year plan for the stadium and the ground around it. But yeah, it can only be positive. It's something we've all been waiting for since it first got announced that we wanted to do. I've got my £19.69 ready, you know, so it's, yeah, I think it's, you know, it's we've got to do it. We've got to do it. And I don't know what everybody else's feelings on it, but what I'm hoping that the good thing it will do is it will keep the county ground where it is, as well, because I know we always talked about it could move, and previous owners have said they wanted the lawns, the shore forest and all this kind of stuff. I actually just want it to stay where it is. You know, it's one of the only grounds arguably left in the country that is actually in the centre of town. You know, so it's I've got, you know, so purchasing it is a must for me, and I can't see the council turning it down. Although, like Ned said, they could get in the way in other ways, but I can't see it being turned down.
Christian,
how much the ground are they purchasing, guys? Is it just like is it the stadium and the car park? Is it the stadium, car park, cricket club, or how much is it?
There's quite a lot, isn't there? Rob,
it's the freehold.
But Rob was also
of what land, guys? Of what land? What's defined as that complex?
Rob was on the radio the other day, and he said it goes as far out as pretty much touching the public path by the Magic Roundabout, and then also the bit that I think was sold off to Ramford by Power, or rented to Ramford by Power, and then as far as the county hotel. So it's the car park and I believe the cricket club's included in there as well. But I think I think Ben's mentioned it before, I think. So yeah, quite good.
I mean, that's massive, isn't it? That's massive if the cricket clubs included in it. We did talk about it before, where we said moving it back, like Molyneux was done. Molyneux for 8 years looked awful, didn't it? Because of that one John Island stand, as it was called, which was miles away from the pitch, and the rest of the ground was all like dilapidated. And everyone was like, "Oh, you've got a stand that's miles away from the pitch," blah blah blah. But you can see what they were doing now. They were making space, which was obviously there was no space behind the other stands. They've pulled it all back, and Molyneux's a fantastic stadium, you know, nowadays. Yeah, I agree. It would be lovely. It'd be great to keep it in the town, and then to buy up the County Ground Hotel as well. Jed put in an offer. Believe it or not, Jed put in an offer for the County Ground Hotel, but Arkles wouldn't sell it to him, and he was going to put offices and stuff in there as well. So it'd be nice to have a not just 4 stands in the car park, but just have a complex and have something to really go at. And I've heard when I was talking to the trust, when Rob was still with the trust, and Steve Mighton, not without giving anything away, what the plans for the town are pretty like wow. I don't know any more than that, but they had that was going to be the focus point, really, the whole ground of Townland, and then that's what had the hotels and everything in. They're talking about putting boxes in the Don Rogers stand, aren't they? Sorry, can one of you just remind me what the costs, because there were costs associated to each stand. Was the Stratton Bank £1 million?
Stratton Bank was about £1 million.
So I don't think they'd be really doing much to that, and I don't think they should do much to that, because eventually it's going to have to go. Ironically, I saw a few weeks ago the house that's closest on Shrivenham Road to the Stratton Bank was up for sale, and you see a lot of clubs like Liverpool, Chelsea have bought these residents out over time, bought those properties just to bulldoze them so they can build back. What was the cost for the Don Rogers?
About a couple of million, £1.5 million, 2 million. Yeah.
That makes me think that because there's already it's already there, isn't it? There's already that level. When it was built, the Don Rogers, there's a second floor in it already, which was there for directors' boxes, which were going to be built if we got back into the Premier League. Ben, you look confused.
No, I'm listening.
But you know that as well. There is a second
floor. I know about you can actually make it out if you're outside. You can.
Yeah, that's right. You can see it from outside. There is a second floor there, so I'm assuming again that's not a lot of money, but that's probably where what they'll do there. They'll lose 3 or 4 rows of seats and put them in there where it's already in place. And then the town end was a lot of money, wasn't it?
About 22 million.
You know what I mean? That's crazy. I hope whatever they do it. They need to really be thinking where we're going to be 20 years down the line. So, not like putting plasters over, over things, but whatever they do has got to be good for 20 years' time. You look at the grounds, Millwall's ground. I use Millwall as an example. They're looking to move already, aren't they? But their ground is like 4 Don Rogers stands, isn't it? The Don Rogers stand is it still looks good. Bloody hell, it's a lot better than the old Shrivenham Road stand. Don't get me wrong, but the Don Rogers stand now is starting to show its signs of age. It was brand new. It was brand new for years, but now it's the tannoys and it stinks of piss in the concourse, and the junior Red's room is tatty, and so.
So I remember when we all went together in the Don Rogers in the top right. Do you remember? And we looked up.
What was I moaning about?
Well, everything. I mean, to be honest, you spent half your time in the toilet, but
I was excited.
But if you looked up, you could see that there was like rusty bolts and stuff. You think like, oh, that doesn't look massively safe on the old,
That's right. I was joking, wasn't I? So if that bolt comes down, we're all, that section can fall on our heads and stuff like that. So yeah, maintenance probably hasn't been what it should have been over the last 94, 2004, 2014. God, is it that old? It's nearly 30 years old, that stand. You wouldn't think it, would you?
Sorry, go on.
And those like who's on? Ben would have. Probably just Ben. Ben, when it first opened, it looked really weird, didn't it? Seeing that when you're used to seeing that Shrivenham Road. And
that green sort of background and the hedge growing up to the...
All of a sudden, we had this bloody great big thing next to the pitch, which was, yeah.
By the way, how happy does Ned look that he's been thrown in the same bracket as me and Woody, that he's not old enough?
Ned, I didn't see you. Sorry, mate. I scrolled to see who was on the... But obviously, it would have been you, me, and what's his name? Craig. No, me, Ned, and Craig. But yeah.
I'm Ben.
Oh, me, Ned, Craig. Yeah, sorry. Beg your pardon.
But no, very, very nicely put, that, Christian, and it's certainly food for thought, both on what we have and what we could potentially have. Sorry, Ned, you wanted to throw something in there.
Well, I was going to say at the front of the town, because obviously they're going to build back on, into the car park, obviously. But what I'd like is, like a big sort of open walkway, maybe with some statues of the heroes of past, but just enough space there to have like a fan zone or something. So let's just say if like a big away game was taking place and we were sold out and people wanted to go somewhere outside in the summer, to watch, on the big screen sort of the game, that type of thing. I think that'd be a really nice touch. Just get a mobile bar along, boom, make a load of money that way. I was going to say that's what I really would like to see at the front of the town end.
Okay. If I can, we've spoken about Swindon specifically, but I did say I wanted to look at the league a bit wider. So Ben, I'll come to you first. As we sit here now, 6th place.
Yeah.
Only 2 points off second officially. Yep. There's a 4-point gap between second and 9th. It is unbelievably tight at the moment, isn't it?
I can't remember it. I can't remember a season where it is so close between second place and 9th, basically. So,
and bear in mind, Forest Green dropping more points and still nobody can catch them.
Yeah, well, they can only carry on for so long. There's still 30 points to play for. If they lose another couple of games, they're going to start really bottling it. So, that title is not out of the question for anyone of those 9. And it's a lottery. It's an absolute lottery. We could finish second, we could finish 9th, and there's an argument for every single one of those clubs to actually pip autos or pip the playoffs. We're one of the lucky ones that make the top 3. If not, it's the second prize, which is playoffs.
Well, you say that an argument can be made for any one of those clubs, and it's time to make that argument for all of you, because our friend Ocus Rhodes been in touch with his weekly question. And this time it's not Swindon specific. He's looking at the league a bit wider and asks, which team do you think will have a major influence on the promotion race? For him, it's Bradford, as they're a very good side, and they have Port Vale, Newport, Bristol Rovers, Northampton, Tranmere and Sutton all still to play.
I agree 100%. I would have said Bradford, because I was talking to the Bradford lad. Their running on paper is horrific, but because they've seemed to be sorting themselves out a little bit, they're going to take a lot of points off the teams around us. That's a huge bonus. So they're a good team that's going to actually do that. Warsaw's another one. You take off their pacing that we gave them, they're taking quite a few points of teams at the minute. They won again on Saturday against Sutton, and I wouldn't want to play them, even though we just smashed them 5-0. But I wouldn't want to play them again anytime soon, because they seem to have got that sorted. I think the Swindon game was just a bad blip. So yeah, them two.
Keeping that question in mind, Woody, if I was to say to you now, who do you think will finish in the promotion places? Who will it be? And don't worry, just because we're all Swindon fans, we're not expecting you to say Swindon. Although I did when we were talking about in the WhatsApp group earlier plans for the playoffs, etc., and what special shows we might be doing, I was the one who piped up with, "We're not going to need the playoffs."
But just quickly on the last question, I think Oldham actually, with Oldham fighting for their lives down there. But they've still got to play Northampton. They've got to play Forest Green. They've got to play, I think it was Tranmere. Sutton.
They've
So
got to play better than they did against us.
Yeah,
though.
but at the same time, you know, they were picking up points before they played us. So
and it took us 96 minutes.
And it took us 96 minutes.
It did take us 96 minutes, but
and like Christian said, we weren't that much better ourselves. So it's you know, it's so I think that Oldham could actually end up doing us a favour, to be totally honest. Who do I think? I'm just wondering, do Exeter, I've got the league table up, do Exeter still have to play Forest Green? Because if Exeter win both their games in hand of the top two and second and third, they will only be 4 points behind Forest Green.
And you're banking on the fact that we're obviously going to beat them.
Yeah, I think we'll beat Forest Green, but I don't think I'm going to be honest. I'm not as optimistic. I don't think we'll get into the autos. I think we will get into the playoffs, but I think it will be Forest Green, Exeter, and
Liam was saying Mansfield, wasn't he?
See, I would have said Mansfield, but I don't know how they got on Saturday. But yeah, Mansfield have got a lot of games in hand. So, but definitely Forest Green, definitely Exeter,
and then any one of the others.
Yeah, I couldn't put anybody on it, to be totally honest. I think that third place is actually up, is the one that's up for grabs.
Ned?
What? Name the top three.
Well, yeah, but the same question, which team do you think could have a biggest say in the promotion race? And if I was to ask you now who's going to finish in the top three, who's it going to be?
Okay, so I guess, I mean, it's really difficult. I mean, I'd love it to be Bradford, because they deserve to have some kind of successful team. They've been struggling with horrendous managers, you know, even though Liam did rate Derek Adams. I still didn't like Derek Adams, but yeah, they've had horrendous managers for years, a horrendous style of football for years. So it'd be nice to see them do well with Sparky. I'm not sure. Something that Liam said last time. Blooming Liam fan club, isn't I today? Jesus Christ. I think.
Don't worry, he'll be back on again one day.
Yeah, he's made a very good point about Mansfield. They're in 9th place at the moment. If they win their games in hand, I think, didn't he say they got Forest Green twice, haven't they? I think they could really sneak up there. But I don't know. I mean, okay, we'll say for the playoffs, the outside shout is possibly Bradford. Depends how their next few games go. Possibly even Hartlepool. They haven't been mentioned yet. They're you know, they're always good value for a win, but unfortunately good value for a stupid game they should win. But yeah, top three. But you know what? I don't think Forest Green will finish in the top three. I think they're going to finish in the playoffs. And I honestly, they are.
That's got nothing to do with your one-man crusade all season. if it's not Carlisle or shit, it's Forest Green out going up.
Well, I mean, they're in free fall at the moment. They can't buy a win, can they?
That would be the biggest collapse in League Two history, I reckon.
If they get in the playoffs, they ain't going up. I want to play them in the playoffs. If they get in the playoffs, they'll be so.
Yeah.
I don't. If they're in the playoffs, it means we're going up.
Yeah, it's true.
I really do believe that Swindon, I think Bristol Rovers will be autos.
Their form, as much as we'd hate to say it, their form's been incredible lately.
I want them to get knocked out by the other team.
But
I don't want Rovers.
I'm just not sure about the third team.
Exeter?
I mean, it could be Exeter, but again, going off what my brother and nephew were saying, they said even though they won the game, they look shit.
I've got a third team. No one's even mentioned yet.
Go on, Christian. Give us your thoughts.
No, I'll let Ned carry on. He hasn't finished yet.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. I don't think it'd be Tranmere. I don't think it'd be Newport. I guess maybe Exeter, but it could be Mansfield. So you know what? I'll plump for three of the outsiders. I'll go for Mansfield, Bristol Rovers, and Swindon.
Okay, Christian.
Okay, Forest Green, they choke every single season, but normally they choke earlier than they have done this year. I think they've got enough to carry them over the finishing line. Whether it be top or not, I don't know. It will be top 3. Forest Green will go up. Bristol Rovers. I think Bristol Rovers. He's got the fans behind him now, Barton, and they're on a bit of a roll. And I'm really surprised nobody said Sutton United. Sutton United's my third choice. And if they do get up, it's absolutely remarkable considering, they've gone up to the Football League. They've had to ditch their 3G pitch.
Yeah, let's completely redo that pitch.
Yeah, they're playing on grass now, and they've just got to the final of the Mickey Mouse Cup. It is Mickey Mouse, but what a story it is for their supporters. So I will go, Rovers, Forest Green, and Sutton United. I don't know in what order. And Newport's always a team that I've respected. They can be a tough nut to crack. Tranmere as well. The playoffs will be great. I think we're going to be in the playoffs, Swindon. And like I keep saying, I don't think we're a particularly good club. Beg your pardon, we're a good club. I don't think we're a particularly good team. I've seen better Swindon teams in this league, under Stoic Wise and Di Canio, etc. But I think we'll get in the playoffs, and once we're in the playoffs, it's a puncher's chance, isn't it? You know what I mean? Will we get that Swindon from earlier on the season, which just looked absolutely unbeatable away from home? Who knows? But I'll be happy if we end the season in the play. If we lose in the playoffs at the end of the season, I won't be too downhearted about it, because I know that we've had a fucking good go, Unlike me, not to moan, but next season I would expect promotion.
Very fair point. Woody, chance to highlight what happened for the women's teams over the last week.
So there was no games for the seniors. My under 16s won in my absence. Woody out. They won 9-1. Quite a lot of action this week. The first team are at home to Maidenhead on Thursday night. A game under the lights at Fairford. And they're also at home against Exeter, which was the rearranged game that unfortunately we couldn't rearrange for the county ground.
I was going to say, this was the one that was supposed to be at the county ground.
Yeah, so it was originally meant to be towards the end of the season, but now they've moved it forward this week. They've, literally we were told about it this morning. The first, if they win, it will take them above Portishead, which puts them at kind of the top end of the bottom half of the table. So quite an important win. And then Sunday, if they can get a result on Sunday, that will keep them there. My under six, the development are at home to Warminster. If they win, they go 8 points ahead at the top. But Warminster will have two games in hand. So another quite big game. And then my lot on Saturday, we got Trowbridge. If we win the league. So quite a big game for us as well, because there'll be 3-4 games left, I think. But if we can win on Saturday, we'll win the league. So quite a big weekend for the women's.
No, absolutely. Good luck to all three sides, and good luck to you, Woody. I know how important the silverware would be to you. So good, as I say, good luck, and look forward to hearing how you get on. We'll keep an eye on things online, and then you can tell us all about it next week.
Do you get to knock on Clem's door if you win the league? Just get a little
Pay my bonus.
Yeah, a little bonus, please, Clem.
So at the start of the season, we had you with the scarf photo. Do we get you with the trophy photo?
Just me, yeah.
Yeah, trophy left sat there with the team sheet.
Me and my captain that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Not like the Anthony Grant photo. me and just some random 16-year-old.
I mean, let's be fair. They're not random. They're very talented 16-year-olds who will become household names, Woody.
Winning the league.
Possibly.
Push each other out of the way for the photo.
You've already had 2 this year promoted up to one of the more senior teams.
So one has played for the first team and scored for the first team. although she's on the older side, so probably is more an adult player that can play for the under-16s, if that makes sense. And three are currently training with the development side. So, and those three in particular, literally as soon as they turned 16, the manager was on the phone saying, can they train with the adults? So, and to be fair, I don't want to take all the credit for that because I've only had them for one season, but they are also attached to the foundation, STFC Foundation. So it's in some ways as well, it's a hats off to what their previous clubs have done and what the foundation do as well.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to all involved, and let's hope that we hear next week it's been a successful weekend. We've got teams moving away from the bottom of the table. We got teams winning the league. It's all potentially going on, and good luck in the rearranged fixture against Exeter as well.
Champions.
Let's have a look ahead to this week's games, and it's another double header week. Christian, I'll come to you first, as you've already tipped them as promotion contenders. Sutton tomorrow night.
I don't know a lot about them and what style they play, but I just know about teams that they seem to have a spirit there and a togetherness that carries them through games. And it will depend. A lot of the time, it depends. If you come to Swindon as an away team, really dialed in, and want to win, a lot of teams have come here and done that. Some teams you can see, they come to Swindon like the Walsall did, they're just absolutely going through the motions. The sort of thing, because they're playing away from home, there's no pressure on them, and you can tell literally going through the motions. So it's going to be tough tomorrow, and I don't want to say we're going to lose, but I think if we do win, maybe we can start thinking about that top 3 place. I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to draw or possibly lose. Honestly, that's not me being negative, but that's hand on heart what I feel.
That's all I can ask.
If we win, then we'll start thinking higher things. Never
say never. Ned, your thoughts on playing Sutton? You're muted.
There we go. Twice in one episode, terrible. I had a quick look at some stats.
Ned report.
I noticed that Swindon have won 6 of the last 7 games against newly promoted sides.
What these faces like, for fuck's sake, Ned?
So I genuinely fancy it. We've beat them 2-1 each time we've played them.
Hang on, when you say each time, is that a history?
We've only played them twice.
I was going to say 2 fixtures.
Still 100%.
Sutton's only won 1 of their last 5 away games, and home and away combined, they only have they've only had 44% possession, and that's against any team. So we're going to see a lot of the ball. That's all I'm saying. We're going to see a lot of the ball. I think if we can, if we can get the ball through to McCurdy, if we can get the ball through to Davison, with the intensity that we saw in that last 10 minutes of that Oldham game, I think we're going to give them battering. I really do. I think if I had to predict a scoreline, I think we're going to win 3-0. I think we're going to give them a battering, but it could easily be 0-0. I don't think we'll lose, but it's just if we can get that intensity of the passing, if we can find our key players in the danger areas, I generally think we're going to give them a bit of a pasting.
Okay, very interesting.
Go on, Chris.
Sorry, Christian.
I was just going to say, not to be argumentative, but I really do feel it's how Sutton come to us and how they're geared up to it if they want to win or not. I know you're saying 3-0. I don't think we can control that. I think Sutton will control that, depending on how they come and what sort of mind frame they're in as a team.
They're going to play hoofball.
Yeah.
They're going to play.
Is that their style?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their style. It's hoof and run on type thing. So as long as we stay strong in our defence, and we play some dangerous passes, effective dangerous passes in the final third, I genuinely think that we should be giving them a pasting tomorrow.
The thing is, hoofball can mean well organised and direct, and it can a lot of the time cancel a good footballing team out. Do you remember Hoddle, when Hoddle was managing us? We were playing beautiful football. Cambridge United were playing the most ugly football you've ever seen. And for quite a long time, a few games, they really had the measure of us. Hoofball's not nice to watch, but sometimes it is effective and it's organised and it's big, strong players. And if the balls are coming in from the flanks into our box, are we happy with our two centre-backs? We'd have been happier 2 or 3 weeks ago with those centre-backs probably, but we'll see. I don't disagree with you, mate. I just think that Sutton play a bigger part in what's going to happen tomorrow night than us.
CK, I really don't want to undervalue the point you've just made, because it is a very valid point.
Shut up then.
But no, not at all. No, not at all. What I was going to say was, I thought generally amongst the group, we had our finger on the pulse that we could have a pop culture reference that wasn't nearly 35 years in the making when describing a team playing hoofball against a team that play nice football. There must be a more up-to-date version. You could have used Sam Allardyce's Bolton if you wanted against just about anybody, but you chose Swindon Cambridge from the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, sorry, mate. It was just one of the greatest teams in our history, so I do apologise for that, Stephen.
Cambridge weren't that good.
No, Ben, they weren't. No. Ben,
Did it beyond Dublin, though?
They had ways and means, turning the hot water off in the showers, and they were dirty, horrible to watch, dirty. But they had a style, and it was no style, but they had him, Dion Dublin, Claridge, Liam Daesh.
I fear we may be going off topic a little bit with this, so forgive me for interrupting there, CK. Woody, your thoughts on Sutton, please.
Well, when Christian mentioned earlier about the Sutton teams potentially going into top 3, I was going to reply on that to say that I think tomorrow night is, if they did a job over us, I would definitely put them into contention for that top 3. I think it does rely on that for tomorrow night.
Okay.
But in terms of tomorrow, I do agree with Ned. I think it's either going to be a really bore 0-0, or I think we could give them a bit of a hiding. But and I'm going to use Waz's phrase here, we have to bring our game, and we have to play arguably the best we've played all season, I think, to combat, like Christian said, those stubborn defences that are set up to deal or to play the way that Sutton play. They will be a better version of what Oldham did at the weekend. There'll be a better version of Oldham. And obviously it took us 96 minutes to score against Oldham. So I just hope it's going to be a good game more than anything. But now we need those 3 points. And as I said the other day, we need to be beating teams that are around us now. It has to happen. And yes, I agree again with what Christian said. If we win tomorrow, I would then quite happily put us in that conversation about potentially being in the top 3. But the same goes with Sutton. If they did a job over us, they will be the ones in the conversation.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, well, as everyone says, this game is massive. Sutton do play industrial football. I think they're the team that have their goalkeeper running up to the halfway line to take free kicks and hoof them into the penalty spot and just up and unders, basically. But they've obviously done something right all season. They've obviously got a great team unity. I think they've kept the team together that got promoted last season. I do know, I heard they've got a couple of injuries to key players. Bootyman's out. And I think there's another one that's quite important to them, the other player that's out. So if that's true.
I didn't know Beautyman was out. I had no idea. He scored 2 in his last 2 games, didn't he?
I heard today that Bootyman might be out. Now, if that's up to bollocks, I'm sorry. But I heard that, and one of their key players is going to be missing for tomorrow.
Just like a Ben Garner style throw off.
Yeah. But I look, we need to start positively. We need to start on the front foot. We need to get, and I think all the catches in there. The first goal is all important. I think it is a massive.
Here we go. It's a game of two halves.
Yeah, no. Whoever wins, it's going to be a massive boost. Whoever loses, it's going to be a kick in the bollocks.
Go on, Ben. Use it. Say it's a proverbial 6-pointer.
It is a proverbial 6-pointer, but hopefully the cup final, they'll have half their minds on Wembley, because they're going to Wembley, aren't they? So hopefully a few of their players go, I'll not get injured for this one with Wembley down the road. So hopefully that will put them off a little bit.
Okay.
But I think McCurdy will be up for this. I think Jack Payne will be having a go. I think
we've had a couple of games rest as well, obviously.
Yeah, a couple of games rest. I think we'll get at them. And hopefully I'm going for a 3-1 win.
Okay, very nice. We've then got Crawley away at the weekend. So Ben, I'll stick with you, and we'll kind of go the other way around.
Crawley, little tin pot club on a tin pot ground. Done really well where they are with the resources they have been.
Those are the views of the person speaking, not necessarily the podcast as a whole.
But that is horrible little ground. I've been there a few times to Crawley, and they got like a row of tents on one side, and like the rest is like minging. But they've got a nice bar, and there's a nice pub up the road. Not a lot to be said about Crawley. John Yems is a bit of a dick, their manager. Christian's changed. But
are you all right?
Yeah. Hi.
He's in the pub as usual. Always in the pub. Where are you? Adam. Where's Adam?
But Crawley, yeah, actually they're
professional
table team. You know, they're good enough to actually give us a game. They may even take points off us. So I think it's important that we get 6-6, and I think we're capable of doing that. If we beat Sutton, we'll beat Crawley.
Okay. Ned?
Jesus Christ. Oh, lovely stuff. Right.
You're gonna find us a Trump.
Oh God. I mean, I'm just having a quick look at Crawley. I didn't even think about looking at Crawley stats. I got to be honest. They're away to
Right, so
Exeter.
hang on. So we're normally, as regular viewers and listeners of the show will know, we're always so well prepared, and we've done all of our research. We've got Ben, who's just referred to them as a tin pot club with a tin pot ground. I think he said they got a row of tents one side and the rest of the ground is shit. The manager's a bit of a dick. You just said, I didn't even think to look at them, knowing we were going to be talking about the game, and half an hour before sent an agenda saying we were going to be talking about it.
Sorry.
Yems is a dick, though.
He is a huge cock.
Do carry on there.
They've picked up 2 points in their last 4 games. They're going to be playing away to Exeter, so they'll probably pick up no points from that game. I think we're hitting them at a great time. I think they're not going to feature to be honest, it looks like they're already on the beach for this year, if I'm completely honest. I'm sure Mr. Yems might have something to say about that. But
another little cliche thrown in there.
But yeah, I mean, they're shit. We're gonna win, but by how many? I don't know. Maybe 2-1.
Right.
Maybe
So
2-1.
So you've predicted that we'll beat Sutton 3-0, but a shit club with a shit manager, we're going to beat 2-1.
It's weird, but we've kind of turned our form around, haven't we? We're much better at home now than we are away. So I don't know. I don't think we beat teams comprehensively away from home. So I don't think it's if I want to take my score prediction seriously, I don't think us high scoring is is the way forward. But yeah, maybe 2-0, 2-1. I'll go with 2-1.
Woody, you don't strike. You're either not quite as confident as these pair, or maybe just don't like to express it in quite the same way.
I was just trying to think of Crawley, the only team that haven't got an ex-player of ours in the league. I'm just looking at their squad.
Ed Nichols is the trialist.
No, that doesn't count. He's not a player, is
They
he?
have got one.
Have they? Who's that then?
I'm sure they have. Haven't they got? Oh no. That's not the
Sheldon
player, I think.
Tunnicliffe wasn't with us, was he? I seem to recognise that name. but I
Ned's
don't
just
think-
doing his audition for the reboot of Vicar of Dibley.
No.
Tunnicliffe, he come on trial to us, didn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
did he?
And Nichols.
Oh, the trials don't count because they're crap. But the we seem to have quite good luck at Crawley, don't we? I seem to not really recall us ever really having a bad result there. Rich is going, isn't he? So as always, I kind of hope he does well.
Fuck's sake.
I'll have a number 13, please, Christian. I hope for Rich's sake, because he's going as well. I hope they do well. But I think we will. I'm going to go 3-0. I reckon we're going to have 6 goals in 2 games this week. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sticking my neck
Hang
out
on.
there.
Have they got Mark Marshall?
No,
I think they might have actually Mark Marshall. Yeah, he played
not on their
against
website.
County Ground.
Mark Marshall, age 34. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
him.
No, Mark
it's
Marshall,
not
yeah,
on their
top
website.
forward.
It's not that good. He's not.
He came on against
He
Swindon.
come on as a
Literally-
substitute.
Literally
didn't
got it on. No, you can't see it, but I literally got it on my iPad. And he's not even on their website. What a mark!
He was rubbish anyway. When he was at Swindon, he was rubbish.
I thought he was at non-league now. Why do you think he was at non-league now?
He was at Crawley, you know, Tin Pot Club, Tin Pot Bram.
Oh, for God's sake, they're like 10th, Ben. Let's say 12th or something.
He's getting really so they're like 10th, Ben.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Jesus
Fair
Christ.
Pullet, that was for you.
Jesus bloody Christ. Tin Pot clubs are in League 2, man. We need to stop referring the team to Tin
They're like-
Pot clubs.
They're like 4 positions below us.
Oh,
Oh,
they might be 13th actually, not 10th, but and
There you
we'd
go.
fucking lose. Like we've got bloody Ned saying we've never lost to somebody who's just got newly promoted, who wears yellow shirts and where the centre backs still wear black boots. and then we've got bloody Ben saying that Crawley Town have got bloody tents for stands. We're not gonna.
They
Those
do,
are the type
though.
of teams that are going to bloody embarrass us if we speak too loudly. But no, I think we'll win 3-0.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there, Woody, because I agree with you. If we have an awful week, say worst comes to the worst, and we end up with 0 points this week, next week's episode is just Ben and Ned on the magic roundabout and everyone throwing shit at them.
Sarah.
Sarah.
She'll be charging.
I'd love to ask Christian his thoughts, but I believe he might still be shopping or on his way back. So we'll. Oh no, there he is. Christian, you there?
Yeah. What was the question?
Just your thoughts on Crawley at the weekend.
I think we'll win 2-0.
There you go.
2-0 win. Nice, easy, not controversial, just direct to the point. I like it.
Just masturbating while he's giving you his prediction.
End of the roundhouse.
Again, you did this last week.
Sorry, once a week ago, Coonies.
Are you just trying to get us a sponsorship deal?
Any chicken 69?
While he's ordering his dinner, we'll put him back on mute. Just one more thing I wanted to
It's
cover
not a bad
before.
kebabby, that, by the way.
Eh?
Not a bad little shop, that, by the way.
Good to know. Cheers, Woody. One more little thing to do before we finish for this week. One of our own, as I tweeted the other day, one of our own's getting married at the weekend.
Yeah.
So our commiserations to the wife to be.
Yeah. Fair play.
In advance. Yeah.
That little train man.
But no, congratulations in advance to the happy couple. I did put out a tweet actually the other day when I was led in my sick bed, feeling sorry for myself. and I asked, with a view to his upcoming nuptials, who are some of the best STFC couples? And I didn't know if any of you had anyone else you wanted to add to the mix. We had some really good answers from a variety of people. The likes of Shearer and White were mentioned, Roland Mays we got. So, some people didn't take it quite as seriously, of course, as you'd expect. I think Craig himself put Mills and Boone.
Daz and Yaz.
Yeah, Daz and Yaz was one.
Daz and Yaz. Yes.
Craig put Cozzy and Lee Power. CK and Lee Power was one of STFC's great couples. Who else did we get? Mays and Rowland. Ned replied and took it very seriously. Scotty T and Taylor Curran was his answer.
Hey! I forgot about Scotty T.
SN1 Insider went with Sheridan and Wright. Was one of the best couples. Who else did we get? Yates and Doyle were mentioned. McCurdy and Payne. Maskell and Mitchell. Rock and Roll Footy Man actually put Hope Kieran and Christian have a long and happy life together.
Nice.
It was actually one show that put Daz and Yaz as his answer.
Well done, one show.
Parkin and Mooney were mentioned. Van der Linden and Haywood were mentioned. Burrows and Haaland. Anyone else? Just as a final thought, if we're looking at STFC couples to see our happy couple on their way into marriage, who are we thinking, Ben? Who springs to mind?
Sheridan and Wright.
Can we have a more serious answer?
You've got
please?
over Sheridan, though, haven't you, Ben?
I mean, yeah, I admire that man.
A more serious answer, please, Ben.
A more serious answer.
Yes, please. McNamee and McGovern.
No, no shit. Coldwood and Taylor.
Coldwood and Taylor.
Bosh.
Ned?
I didn't even think about managers, so Hoddle and Gorman has got me right up there.
Okay. Woody?
I would have said Hoddle and Gorman as well. Thanks, Ned.
Sorry, mate.
Hey, England.
I'll change my
partnership,
answer.
That's an international partnership. Got us to the round of 16.
Absolutely.
So was Ricky Shakes and someone else in that squad, but we don't give them the same level of credit.
Yeah, but they were in England though, were they? The Hod.
Ricky Shakes was in the same international team as Dwight York, was he not?
Was he not? Is he Trinidad? Was he Trinidad Tobago?
Oh, that's what he got called up for.
Ah, I did not know.
There you go. And did Kaminguez not get called up to Guadeloupe or something?
Kaminguez. Oh, you know, I thought he was going to be brilliant when he first arrived.
Then we sold him to Cardiff and he turned to shit.
Yeah, just like.
Anyway, Christian, any big double acts that you'd like to finish the show with?
Ben Nichols and Gareth Gilman.
Oh.
They're the same person.
I was right.
Apparently, we're one of the same.
I was right.
Apparently, we're one of the same.
I was actually going to say Hoddle and Gorman, like the last two people have. So no, I'll Chick Bates with Macari and Ardiles, and that was two different styles of football. So yeah, Chick Bates and Ardiles.
Well, gents.
No, Macari. Sorry, Macari, I think. Sorry, I've had a drink.
That's absolutely fine. Gents, as always, thank you very much for your time this evening. If you're going to one or both of the games, I hope you enjoy it, as I thank anyone who's watching or listening to this episode. And if you're going to the games, enjoy. Let's hope for 6 points this week, and we can discuss happy times and our promotion charge next week. From me and from them, until next week, goodbye.